So that was around the time that, and I believe it was State Farm who led the push that main method of handling cat claims was not with employees, but to outsource. And so for some perspective on that, I was a claims adjuster at the time for Worley. And Worley was one of the original five that got the State Farm contracts when they decided to lay off, which I believe I remember to be 50% of their claims personnel. And it later, I think, went up from there. And in place of that, they signed contracts with five IA firms, one of which was Worley. And so that to me, in my opinion, began a very fundamental transition in how the entire industry operated as in regard to handling cat claims.
In 95, I started with the catastrophe team, and that was field. That was 100% in the field. But then, with what State Farm recognized is there's so many smaller losses that we could handle over the phone. And so we started handling, a certain percentage over the phone. So what happened is State Farm, they would set up cat offices everywhere. This is before Catastrophe Claim Central. So they'd have a plane. They would load a plane and they would have it in 25,000 claim blocks. So they'd have a pallet. So if it's predicted to be a 25,000 claim event, they would load it. They would go rent like an old grocery store or skating rink or something, and they would build it out, for their temporary claims office. Well, taking that pallet and loading it on a plane and setting up was, there's no reason to do it. As the technology allowed, there was no longer the need to do that. So they started saying, okay, we don't need to set up as many of these offices, and we can handle a large percentage of these claims over the phone. And they had palletized to, I think it was 25,000 claims. So they would have all of the inventory forms, all of the graph paper, all of the Polaroid film, anything that you would need to handle a 25,000 claim event. And they would pop it up, put it on a State Farm plane, fly it to where in the middle of nowhere or somewhere USA, set it up and build out that office, and then the adjusters would show up and start handling the claims.